y vamos a comenzar el capítulo número 4. El capítulo número 4 se llama Nuestra Comunidad. Okay, we're going to start chapter 4, Nuestra Comunidad. In chapter 3, in capítulo 3, we talked about the house and how to describe and refer to different parts of the house. Now we're going to expand a little bit and go to the community. How to describe different places in the community, and what kind of things you can do or you can participate in. So we're going to continue to add more verbs to your list and more vocabulary. Okay. Community life in Latin America is pretty different from community life here in the States in different ways. Most of the social, I guess, and community life happens in the downtown area of a city. Here in this picture you have a market. This is in the Plaza de Chichicastenango. Chichicastenango in Guatemala, and you can see a lot of those in Latin America, in some countries more than in others. Okay, so we have some questions here to get you thinking about what we're going to be covering. Generalmente, ¿qué haces durante un día normal? You learn the verb hacer, to do. What do you do in a everyday life, un día normal, a normal day? And we're going to be looking at what some culture notes to learn some about what community life looks like in some parts of Latin America. Okay. About the content, we're going to. I'm going to make this bigger because I can't really see very well here. Okay. We're going to be talking about places, to identify places in and around town, and we're going to work with the letters C and Z, and you have to pay attention to the My Spanish Lab explanation there. The two verbs that express to know, saber and conocer. To know is like the verb to be in Spanish. We have two different ones, not just one. Saber and conocer, and they're not interchangeable. Okay, we have to know when to use one and when to use the other. And we are going to have we're going to go back to the verb tener, and we learned this expression briefly in chapter 3. Tener plus que plus an infinitive means have to do something, to talk about common obligations and activities. Okay, today I have to go downtown. I have to pay the bill. She has to teach a lesson, they have to study, different things like that. Okay, so we're going to continue to learn more verbs that are irregular, verbs that have changes in the stem. Okay, we are going to specifically learn the verb ir, which means to go, which is a very common verb, and it's going to also be necessary to know because we're going to start with the future tense. The future expressed with ir plus a plus an infinitive. It's the equivalent of going to do something. Okay, I'm going to take my kids to the park. Okay, so that denotes future. In Spanish, you do that with ir plus the word a plus an infinitive. And another area that we're going to cover with vocabulary will be service opportunities or volunteerism, and we're also going to learn some affirmative and negative expressions. Okay, so that's pretty much what we're going to cover. So we're going to go ahead and start with the vocabulary, el vocabulario, if this will allow me. Okay, muy bien. Comunicación 1, los lugares. Los lugares means the places. I'm going to close this here. Okay, that's better. Los lugares en la ciudad o en el pueblo, identifying places in and around town. Okay, so remember that you can click on these and you can hear the pronunciation of the words. Okay, so we're going to start up here on top. We're going to look at the different things that you can find in a town. El supermercado, like H-E-B, or here in town in Atlanta United or Albertsons, that would be a supermercado. Walmart and places like that, that would be el hipermercado, but you can also call it el supermercado. el parque, the park, and you can be thinking about places around your town where you are that you can make the connection with, and it can kind of label those places with the Spanish words so that you can remember them better. Okay, here in Adeline we have, for example, Nelson Park is el parque, el almacén, that would also be sort of like a grocery store, or more like a specific kind of store. Okay. El centro comercial would be the mall. El templo, that's a cognate, the temple. And we can also call them la iglesia, okay, la iglesia, the church. El cine, the movie theater. Oh, this is the temple. El cine, the movie theater. La oficina de correos, the post office. That is a temple back there. Okay, la oficina de correos, the post office. El café, the coffee shop. El café. El restaurante is a cognate. El mercado, that's a market, like the picture we saw in the first page. El mercado. El bar o el club, okay, this is a place, like a club or a place where you go dancing. El bar o el club. El cajero automático, the ATM, el cajero automático, el banco, the bank, el centro, the downtown in general. This would be like a downtown part of town. El centro, meaning the center, literally. La plaza, this is a very common place in Latin American countries to have a square, a main square. La plaza. El teatro, the theater. El museo, these are cognates, museum. Y la iglesia. So I guess you can have templo, like a Jewish temple, y la iglesia, okay, la iglesia, the church, la iglesia. So all these are places that you can identify with and identify in your own hometown, or where you are right now, and kind of in your mind label them with these words so you can have something more real to work with. And here we have other useful words. El cibercafé would be like an internet cafe where you can go and use the internet, and this is something that is very common in big cities in Latin America, because not a lot of people have computers at home, so they go to an internet cafe, el cibercafé. Okay, it's becoming more common for people to have computers at home, but a few years ago they were everywhere. La ciudad is the city. La cuenta, bill or account. La película, if you go to the theater or to el cine, there's the cine, el cine, you go there to watch la película, okay, or una película. El pueblo is smaller than ciudad, okay, el pueblo is a town or village, el pueblo. And some verbs, buscar is regular, buscar. Yo busco, tú buscas, él busca, to look for. Y mandar una carta, if you go to the post office, you go there to send a letter, right? Usually. Mandar una carta, to send or to mail a letter. So that's the vocabulary. And we're going to do some activities with that so you get familiar with, you familiarize yourself with the vocabulary, okay? You do that in my Spanish lab. And here you have also vocabulario útil when you are describing places around town, okay? You can use some of these verbs, detrás de, behind, enfrente de, in front of, estar de acuerdo, to agree, and of course you have to conjugate estar. You say I agree, you say estoy de acuerdo, or estás de acuerdo. El o la mejor, the best, you're talking about, the best restaurant in town, okay? El mejor restaurante en la ciudad. O el peor o la peor, the worst, okay? So that's useful vocabulary that you can also use when you're talking about places around town, okay? Muy bien. So you're going to do your activities, and the cultural notes now are written in Spanish, as you have noticed. So that gives you good practice to read and try to understand what the context is saying. And it's okay if you don't understand every single word, but these are very simple writings with words that you probably know and a lot of cognates, so you can understand the context, and that's good if you do that. Okay, so saber y conocer. Saber y conocer are two verbs that mean to know. They're twin verbs, like ser y estar. Okay, in English you only use to know. Okay, we looked at conocer in chapter 3, so if you want to go back and see how it's conjugated, you can do that. Conocer is irregular only in the yo form. Okay, the rest of the persons are regular. So saber y conocer. Okay. Saber is irregular only in the yo form as well. Okay, both are irregular only in the yo form. So here, like in the example, I don't know why this is so small here. You have this dialogue, and the man is asking, ¿Sabes dónde hay un cibercafé? And she answers, no conozco muy bien la ciudad. So they're both using the verb to know. Do you know where I can find, or where there is an internet cafe? No, I don't know this town very well. So in English, you would be using the same verbs, but in Spanish, we have to use different verbs, okay? And here's a conjugation of saber. They both have irregular yo forms, conozco and sé. Conozco, you have to go back to chapter 3, y sé, yo sé, and then the rest are regular. Okay, so when do we use one and when do we use the other? Okay, they're not interchangeable. Conocer means conocer is used to express being familiar or acquainted with people or places and things. For example, if you say, they know the best restaurants in the city. Okay, you're going to use conocer. Ellos conocen los mejores restaurantes de la ciudad. Or I know your brother, but not very well. Yo conozco a tu hermano, pero no muy bien. Okay, so to be familiar or acquainted with something, you use conocer. But let's see. Here's a note. It says when you express that a person is known, we use what we call the personal a. Okay, because we're talking about people. That's why it's called personal a. La a persona. For example, here, yo conozco a tu hermano. Yo conozco a tu hermano. Okay. And then when a is followed by el, we have to put a and el together, and we form the word al. It's a contracted word, okay? A contracted article, sorry about that. Conozco al señor. A plus el makes al. Conozco al señor. Okay, we can't say conozco a el señor. We put them together. And then saber we use to express that we know facts and pieces of information, or also how to do something. Okay, so ¿qué sabes sobre la música de Guatemala? What do you know about Guatemala music? What information do you know? Okay, or yo sé tocar la guitarra. I know how to play the guitar, and you have to use a verb here in the infinitive. Yo sé tocar, yo sé cantar, yo sé hablar español, yo sé nadar, okay? All right. So a form of saber, depending on the person, plus an infinitive expresses that you know how to do something, okay? Sé nadar. I know how to swim. Sabemos tocar la guitarra. We know how to play the guitar, okay? So look at these two the uses of conocer and saber, and you're going to be doing some more activities in my Spanish lab with that. Okay, it takes practice to figure out when to use one and when to use the other, but you can do it. And that is about all for today. And tomorrow we're going to start with more verbs to talk about what you can do or what you have to do around the house or in your community, okay? And some of these verbs are irregular and some of these are regular, okay? So we're going to continue to work with verbs. ¿Bien? Ok, muy bien. Hasta mañana entonces. Chao. Y continuamos con el capítulo 4, okay? Okay, so yesterday we looked at and some vocabulary about the different places around town. Okay, so today we are going to look at more verbs, learn more verbs that refer to different activities and that we can use with the expression tener que plus an infinitive. Okay, we mentioned that expression briefly in last chapter, in chapter 3, when we talked about expressions that require the verb to have, okay, instead of the verb to be. One of them was tener que plus an infinitive. All right, so tener que plus an infinitive is the expression we use when we want to talk about obligations. To have to do something, okay? I have to get up early. She has to buy a new car. They have to prepare for the test, okay? So we're going to conjugate the verb tener for the different persons, and whatever is the action that you have to do or that somebody has to do is going to, the verb is going to stay in the infinitive, okay? So for example, if I say I have to prepare for the exam, I'm going to say yo tengo que preparar para el examen. Okay, so this after que is always going to be in the infinitive form. What you do have to conjugate is tener, okay, for the different persons. See? Okay, so here we have some more verbs. We have almorzar, and some of them are cognates, a few of them are cognates. Almorzar, to eat lunch. Cerrar means to close. Comenzar, to start. And all of these verbs and words, the vocabulary, they are all at the end of the chapter, all put together in categories if you want to refer to the meaning there. Okay. Costar means to cost. Mostrar, to show. Entender, to understand. Encontrar, to find. Dormir, to sleep. Pedir, to ask for. Pensar, to think. Perder, to lose. Preferir, to prefer. Volver, to come back or to return. Servir, to serve. Seguir, to follow. Repetir, to repeat. And recordar, to remember. Okay, so some of these you can use with the expression tener que. Okay, for example, if you want to say I have to eat lunch at noon. Okay, so almorzar is a verb, but you have to conjugate tener. You can say yo tengo que, and almorzar is going to stay in the infinitive, al mediodía. Okay, or she has to find her keys. So encontrar, so it would be ella tiene que encontrar sus llaves. Okay, her keys. Okay, so the verb that comes after que is going to stay in the infinitive, and you do have to conjugate the verb tener. Okay, okay, muy bien. So here you have some vocabulary, some verbs, and some of these I think they were in chapter 3. Okay, so you're going to practice with this new set of vocabulary and verbs, some. Okay, and then we have verbs that have a change in their stem, okay, in the root, okay. Verbos con cambio de raíz, all right. So in the last chapter you learned a variety of common verbs that are irregular, and two of those are poder and querer, okay. And they're irregular because they have changes in their stems, okay. So these are some groups of verbs that they're put in a group because they have the same kind of irregularities, okay. So there are some verbs, I'm going to make this a little bigger. There are some verbs that the root is spelled with an E. The root would be ser up to the double R, and it's spelled with an E, and when you conjugate them they change from E to IE, okay, from E to IE. Change the E a IE. So cerrar is the infinitive. When you conjugate them, you have to change the E to IE. Yo cierro, tú cierras, usted cierra, él, ella cierra. Nosotros and vosotros, as I told you before, are always going to be regular, so they don't change. Cerramos, cerráis, ustedes cierran, ellos, ellas cierran. Okay, and down here you have a group of verbs that conjugate the exact same way. That are verbs like cerrar. Okay, they change from E to IE. Comenzar, so yo comienzo, tú comienzas, él comienza. Empezar, they both mean to begin. Entender, yo entiendo, tú entiendes, él entiende, nosotros entendemos. So all these verbs are conjugated exactly the same way as cerrar. Okay. Muy bien. Then we have verbs that show a change in the root. They are spelled with an E in the infinitive, and the E changes to I. Okay. For example, pedir, which means to ask for. So, pedir, when you conjugate it, is yo pido, tú pides, él pide, usted, él, ella pide. Nosotros y nosotras, they stay the same. They don't change. Ustedes piden, ellos piden. Okay? And so here we have other verbs that conjugate exactly like pedir, and they are repetir, seguir, y servir. Okay? Now, the yo form of seguir is sigo. Okay, so that is irregular in the yo form as well. Okay, muy bien. And then we have another group, two more groups, the ones that change from o to we. O, we. For example, encontrar has an o in the root, but that o changes into we. Yo encuentro, tú encuentras, usted, él, ella encuentra. Nosotros and vosotros doesn't change, they don't change. Ustedes, ellos, ellas encuentran. Okay? And other verbs that conjugate the exact same way as encontrar are almorzar, costar, dormir, morir, mostrar, recordar, y volver. Okay, so those are all verbs that conjugate the same way. And then the last group is the verbs that change from u to we. U, we. They're not as common. Okay, for example, the verb jugar. Jugar, that u changes to we. Yo juego, tú juegas, usted, él, ella juega, nosotros jugamos, vosotros jugáis. Si nosotros and vosotros, they keep that u. Ustedes, ellos, ellas juegan. Okay? Muy bien. So those are the new groups of verbs that you're going to be working with in your activities in My Spanish Lab. Okay? So get some good practice with those, because these are, like you can see, very common verbs that we use all the time in everyday conversations. All right, and at the end of this section, kind of in the middle of the chapter, you have the ¿Cómo andas? How are you doing? So kind of look at this and see how you're doing in these areas and what you need to work a little harder on, okay, if you feel confident or if you need to review. And as always, if you have any questions or any doubts or anything that you want me to explain again, please let me know. And we will look at some more sections tomorrow, mañana, miércoles, okay? So I'll see you tomorrow. Ciao. And we are going to start this day with the verb ir, which is an extremely important verb to learn. Number one, because it's it's irregular, so it's very irregular. So you have to learn how to conjugate that. And number two, because this verb, just like in English, is going to be used to express future, the future, okay? Like in English, we say going to do something. I'm going to take the bus. She is going to meet her friends, okay? So going to, the verb ir, is the one that is going to be conjugated, okay, to form the future tense in Spanish, one of the future tenses, okay? But first, let's look at how do we conjugate the verb ir. So this verb is used to talk about where you or and others are going. Okay, so it means to go. Okay, it's a very important verb. It's a very small word. Okay, but very important. So this is how we conjugate it. Yo voy. So it changes completely. Okay, yo voy, tú vas, usted, él, ella va, nosotros, nosotras vamos, vosotros, vosotras vais, ustedes, ellos, ellas van. Okay? For example, voy al almacén. ¿A dónde vas tú? Okay? So yo voy. ¿A dónde vas tú? Okay? So first you're going to do some practice with the verb ir, just as the verb to go by itself. Okay? And then when you have gotten acquainted with the conjugation and the use of the verb to go, the verb ir, we are going to learn how to express the future tense. One way to express the future tense is by using the verb ir plus a plus an infinitive verb to convey something that will happen in the future. Okay, so for example, vamos, that would be nosotros, right? Vamos a almorzar pronto. Tengo hambre. Are we going to eat lunch soon? Sí, voy a pedir comida guatemalteca. Okay, yes, I'm going to order Guatemalan food. Okay, so voy is ir is the verb that is conjugated, and the other verb stays in the infinitive form. Okay, so voy a mandar esta carta. Vas a almorzar. Sí, vamos a comer. Okay, so see that the verb that is conjugated is the verb to go. Ir plus a plus an infinitive verb to convey the future. Okay, so you have some more activities in My Spanish Lab and e-text activities to practice forming the future tense. Okay, and tomorrow we're going to start with community activities that you can do around your town. Okay, muy bien, hasta mañana. Y vamos a continuar con el capítulo 4 en la página 149. Yesterday we learned how to use the verb ir, which is a very important verb because it's very common, the verb to go, and especially because we use it to form one form of the future tense. Okay. Today we're going to be looking at service to the community, servicios a la comunidad, and some actions here, some action verbs. Of course, these are all verbs that are in the infinitive form. So when you say, I support a candidate or she helps, we have to conjugate them, okay? And a lot of these words you already know. Some of them are cognates, and most of them are regular, except for dar in the yo form, and hacer in the yo form, and of course the verb ir is irregular. All the other ones are regular, okay? And most of them are AR verbs. So you have trabajar en el campamento de niños, to work in a children's camp. Trabajar como consejero, work as a counselor. Trabajar como voluntario o voluntaria en la residencia de ancianos, work as a volunteer in a nursing home. Ancianos is a word for elderly people, just like personas mayores or los mayores. That's another way to refer to elderly people. Ayudar a las personas mayores, to help elderly people. Participar en una campaña política, participate in a political campaign. Apoyar a un candidato, support a candidate. Dar un paseo, go for a walk. Hacer artesanía, to do craft. Organizar, to organize, which is what I need to do. Circular una petición, to distribute. Circular means to circulate, but in this case would be to distribute a petition. And repartir also means to distribute, okay? Repartir comidas. Okay, we have here in Abilene, for example, a service called Meals on Wheels, So that would be something that would refer to repartir comidas. Ir de excursión, go on an excursion. Llevar a alguien al médico, take someone to the doctor. Montar una tienda de campaña, to put together or to assemble a tent. And notice that montar is a word that we used in chapter 2, I believe it was, when we talked about ride a bicycle, we used the word montar, montar una bicicleta. So sometimes there are words that can be used in more than one way. Hacer una hoguera, to make a fire. Viajar en canoa, to go canoeing or to viajar means to travel, but in this case the expression will be to ride in a canoe. Okay, muy bien. So those are some activities that you can do in your community, and there are some other verbs here like deber, ought to or should, and then you have the noun el deber, the obligation or the duty. They are both spelled the same way, but el deber is the noun and deber is the verb, and deber is regular. Ir de camping, to go camping. Notice that we borrowed the word camping from the English language. Trabajar en política, to work in politics. And el voluntariado, volunteerism. Okay? Muy bien. So then you're going to do some activities with that to practice with all that vocabulary. And you have a cultural note, la conciencia social, and it usually talks about how different things are viewed in Spanish-speaking countries, and compare and contrast with the way that we view those things here in the States. Okay, so you're going to read that, and then we have las expresiones afirmativas y negativas, some words that we use to convey negative or affirmative ideas. Okay, and here are the words. Expresiones afirmativas: a veces, algo, alguien, algún, alguno, alguna, algunos, algunas, and they all mean some and any, except that algún is used when it is followed by a noun that is masculine and singular. Okay, and alguno, alguna, algunos, algunas is used when when the noun does not follow. Okay, except for the feminine. Okay, and we're gonna get into that in a minute here. Siempre, always, and then you have either or, which is o, just very simple, or something or something. And then you have the negative expressions: jamás, nada, nothing, nadie, no one, ningún, none, and the same case here with algún. We have ningún, and then ninguno, ninguna, ningunos, ningunas, nunca, y neither, nor, ni, okay? Muy bien. So the thing here with the expression is that, especially with the negative ones, in English you don't you can't have double negatives, okay? In Spanish we do. So that is something that you need to keep in mind, because especially with the word nada and nadie, in English you use them in a sentence like she is doing nothing. Okay, in Spanish you cannot say that. You have to use a double negative, and the same thing with nadie. They helped nobody. Okay. So you do have to have a double negative in Spanish. You cannot use the word nada and nadie without the word no. Okay, and I'm going to go to a website here because I don't really like the way that the book explains this with the expresiones negativas. So let's see if maybe this will help a little better. And I really recommend this website. It's called, I don't know if you can see the whole thing, studyspanish.com, and it's got a lot of explanations about grammar, and then you can do a pronunciation guide, and then you can also do maybe a little bit smaller, there we go, pronunciation, and then you have exercises, verb drills, and different things, and it's a really good website. And I like the simple way that they explain the negation here because they go step by step. You start with affirmative statements. Ella habla inglés, that's affirmative. Él es profesor. And to make a sentence negative, you simply put the word no before the verb, always. Always before the verb, okay? There is no such thing as putting the word no after a verb in Spanish. It's always before. So, ella no habla inglés, él no es profesor, okay? When the answer to a question is negative, 2 negative words are required, okay? 2. ¿Habla usted español? Do you speak Spanish? No, that would be the first no. No, and this one would be the don't, okay? No, no hablo español. No. Gerardo no está en la clase. ¿Siempre estudias? No. Nunca estudio, okay? So here you have the same words that you have in your book. The words, the affirmative and the negative counterparts. Algo and nada. Alguien, nadie. Algún o alguno, alguna, algunos, algunas. And ningún o ninguno, ninguna, ningunos, ningunas. Siempre, nunca. Nunca and jamás. Okay? También, tampoco. O, either or, and ni, neither, no. Okay? So, the negative words can be used alone, preceding the verb. So before the verb, if you use the negative words, one of these negative words, alone, we have to put them before the verb. Okay? Nadie habla. Nobody speaks. Okay? Before the verb. You cannot say habla nadie. Okay? Nadie habla. Él nunca come, before the verb. Alfredo tampoco baila, before the verb. Tampoco baila, okay? All right, so the negative words can also be used with the word no, which is very common, following the verb. Following the verb, not before. Note that unlike English, double negatives are acceptable, okay? So we have no, the no always is going to go before the verb. But if you use the word no, you have to put the negative word after the verb, okay? As opposed to here. Nadie habla. No habla nadie. So we added the word no in front, and so the negative word has to go after, okay? No habla nadie. Él no come nunca. Here was él nunca come. But if you add the word no in front of come, we have to put the negative word at the end, okay? Él no come nunca, okay? Alfredo no baila tampoco. Alfredo tampoco baila. Tampoco goes before the verb, but if you add the word no, it's Alfredo no baila tampoco at the end, okay? Sometimes 3 negative words occur in the same sentence. No compro nada nunca. Él no compra nada tampoco. So when you add the word no in front of the verb, the negative words have to go at the end, after the verb, okay? No compra nada tampoco, okay? Muy bien. And you can even have 4 negative words in the same sentence. Yo no veo nunca a nadie tampoco, plus no, okay? Muy bien. Unlike English, Spanish does not normally mix negative and affirmative words, okay? Maria doesn't need anything. Not Maria doesn't need nothing. Well, I know people say that, but it's not correct, okay? So in Spanish, it would be María no necesita nada, okay? Not María no necesita algo, okay? When you are talking in the negative sense, you have to use negative, a word that communicates negative, okay? Okay, muy bien. Now, algún and ninguno. Alguno, I mean, alguno and ninguno drop the O before a masculine and singular noun, okay? So masculine and singular, el libro, right? Before a noun that is masculine and singular, we say, ¿tienes algún libro? And we use the affirmative because this is an affirmative question. ¿Tienes algún libro? No, no tengo ningún libro. Okay, so before a masculine and singular noun, when the noun is actually there, we have to drop the O in alguno and ninguno. So algún libro, ningún libro. Okay, ninguno o ninguna is generally used in the singular. Okay, ¿tienes algunas revistas? ¿Tienes algunas revistas? Here is where the noun is actually there, it's present. We're going to say algunas because this is feminine, okay, and plural. And you're going to say, no, I don't have any, okay, no tengo ninguna, ninguna, no tengo ninguna, okay. O tienes algunos libros, this is plural. No tengo ninguno, okay, I don't have any, no tengo ninguno, okay, muy bien. The plural of ninguno or ningunas is used only when the noun that it modifies exists only in plural or is normally used in plural, okay? For example, vacaciones is always used in the plural, okay? Ningunas vacaciones a Alaska son completas sin una excursión a Mount McKinley, okay? So ningunas vacaciones, okay? No vacation to Alaska is complete without a trip to Mount McKinley. In this example, ningunas is used because vacaciones is normally used in the plural form. We don't say vacación, okay? Vacaciones is always plural. So we use the plural of ninguno, ninguno, and ninguna only when the word is always used in the plural form, okay? Muy bien. So I hope that that helps some to explain, because I really don't think the book explains it very well. Okay, so you're going to practice and pay attention to how you use these negative and affirmative expressions. Okay, you have several activities in my Spanish lab. Okay, and tomorrow we're going to review a little bit of ser and estar, and we're going to finish the chapter. Okay, muy bien. So get to work, and I'll see you back tomorrow with the end of this chapter, capítulo 4. Okay, hasta luego, hasta mañana. Vamos a terminar el capítulo 4 y vamos a estar en la página 154. Okay, so yesterday we covered negative and affirmative expressions, and I hope that you got some really good practice. Like I said, it takes time to get used to how those work in Spanish. But I hope that you that website that I show you was helpful to you. And today all we're going to do is just review ser and estar, and when to use one and when to use the other, to describe the states of being, characteristics, and location. Okay, so we learned the verb ser very early on, and ser we use to describe physical or personality characteristics that remain relatively constant. Okay. Gregorio es inteligente. If we say Gregorio está inteligente, that means that he is intelligent right now, but that could change. Okay, but if we say es inteligente, we are describing a trait that he has. Okay, su tienda de campaña es amarilla. Okay, it's yellow. If we say está amarilla, that means that it's yellow today, but maybe in a couple of hours it could change, or tomorrow it could change. Okay, Janina es guapa. Now, if you say Janina está guapa, it could mean Janina looks pretty today, okay, which it is grammatically correct. But if you say Janina es guapa, you mean that she is pretty, that she's pretty all the time, okay. Las casas son grandes, and the houses are large. And remember that large, the word, let's see, the word largo or larga, does not mean large, okay? This means long, okay? Large is grande, okay? Or grandes if it's plural, okay? So largo and larga does not mean long. It's not a cognate. It's a false cognate, okay? Muy bien, just a note there, just something that I think I heard in some of the recordings and I saw in some of the discussion forums. Okay, so to explain what or who someone or something is, okay, we use the verb ser. El doctor Suárez es profesor de literatura, because that is describing him. Marisol es mi hermana. If you use the word estar, that means that Marisol is my sister today, and maybe she won't be some other time. Okay, so es mi hermana, we use the verb es. To tell time or to tell when or where an event takes place. So, ¿qué hora es? Son las 8. Son. Mi clase de español es a las 8 y es en Peabody Hall. Okay, so es to say where something is going to take place. Okay, la fiesta es en mi casa. Okay, and to tell to tell where someone is from and to express nationality, and we saw that in the first chapter, I think, or the second. So somos de Honduras, somos hondureños, ellos son de Guatemala, son guatemaltecos. Okay, so those are the uses of the verb ser. And estar is used to describe physical or personality characteristics that can change or to indicate a change in condition. Okay, so María está enferma hoy. She's not always sick, she's sick today. Jorge y Julia están tristes. They are sad, but that can change. La cocina está sucia. The kitchen is dirty now, but we can clean it and it can be clean. Okay, so está sucia. And also to describe the location of people, places, and things. Anytime you talk about location, where something is located. Okay, el museo está en la calle Quiroga. Estamos en el centro comercial. ¿Dónde estás tú? Okay, with the word donde. When you ask where something is, you're going to use the verb estar. Okay? Muy bien, so you have a few more activities to work with the differences between ser and estar, and I believe that marks the end of capítulo 4. Okay? So get everything done, and I will see you again with chapter 5 next week. Okay? Adiós, hasta la semana que viene. Chao.